Hello everyone. When I trailered this 1966 Ford Mustang home, the factory stock 289 engine wasn't running. Let's see if we can get it started.
You can see here, this engine, I grabbed a hold of it and turned it. Parking brake's not holding. I guess we're going to find out if the tank leaks as well. I hope it doesn't. So this engine is actually not running right now. I've never had a chance to hear it run. See or hear it. Everything is super solid under here. There's no rust. It's just dirty. I don't know why it's so dirty, but I'll take care of that. Now the reason that the guy didn't start the engine, it's been in storage for a couple of years. Maybe a few years. And it hasn't been started, so he didn't want to start it.
Because he was concerned about the cylinder walls being unlubricated. But as soon as the crank starts turning, it's going to fling oil on the cylinders. That's what they do.
The carburetor's not stuck. It's dry. I mean, the accelerator pump's not doing anything. I checked the oil. The oil's clean and full. There's and the radiator's dry. There's nothing in here. So why don't I start with that? I'll fill that up. This is the second Mustang I've had to fill the radiator in the last couple of weeks. Is there something with these cars that causes them to lose coolant? It doesn't exactly look clean in there either. Probably needs to be flushed. So this is 50-50 concentrate. And according to what they say on here, that should prevent freezing down to negative 35 degrees. We never see cold like that here. We hardly go below zero, ever. And it seems like I'm putting a little bit too much in it. It's all the way up to the top. But I figure when I start it and it starts warming up, it's going to take more. So this took about a little more than half a gallon. But as we can see here, this engine is not stuck. Oh, it's in gear right now. You can see here, this engine, I grabbed a hold of it and turned it. Parking brake's not holding. I've got to chock the wheel. So I was able to just turn this by hand yesterday. Yeah, it's nice and loose. I can move the engine. I can turn the crank just by pushing on the fan here just about. It's definitely not locked up. Now the man I bought this car from was concerned that the cylinder walls might be dry, so we shouldn't start it. I don't think that's a real big concern. I think by the time it starts, we'll have cranked it enough to bring oil up. It's not going to fire off right off the bat because there's no fuel up here. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if there's any fuel in the tank. So the first thing I have to do is check this battery out. Okay, let's see what the electrolyte level is in here. Oh, there's some mouse turds right here on top of the battery. That's not good. Let's take care of this mess. Okay, I just noticed this battery has a sticker on it, 1106. So this is from 2006. I'm betting there's not much hope for it. But let's see what we have. It has electrolyte. That one's a little dry. It says made in Mexico on it. Ooh. They're all still wet. All the plates are still wet, but the electrolyte's a little low. So let me take care of that. Okay, this is distilled water. I like using this electrolyte checker to fill because I can just squeeze a little bit out and you don't end up dumping a whole bunch in that you don't need. Yeah, they need quite a bit. The odds are this battery's shot, but I'm going to stick it on the charge for a couple hours and see what happens. Okay, that'll do. Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, it's humming. And it's giving it no current. It's not taking any current at all. That battery is shot, beyond shot. So just for giggles, let's see if it's got any voltage level at all. They have a red wire here on the negative. That's interesting. Yeah, so it's got 0.89 volts. Yeah, it's toast. I don't think we're going to resurrect toast to 12 volts. Okay, so I took the old one out, and that's got 650 cold cranking amps. That's what it's rated for. Now it has 0, but I put this one in here. This is out of my Ford Ranger. It's got 590 cold cranking amps. It's not cold out, and this battery is brand new. So this should do the job just to get it started, and I'll get a new battery to replace the old one. So let's see what works in here. There's no dome light. Huh. Look at that. There's no dome light in here. Interesting. Oh, there's an under dash light on that's on there. That might be from the glove box. I don't know. Which I never even looked in. There's emergency flashers. They're working. That's custom. I wonder if they're working on the back. Yep. How about on the front? Yeah, so those are all good. And the original owner's manual is in there too. That's pretty cool. All right, what happens if I... Oh, the wiper's on. It works. Kind of. Needs a little help. I hear the defroster fan running. And now it's not. Okay, what happens if I bump it? It wants to turn. The fuel gauge is reading like almost completely empty. There's an oil pressure gauge, 140 mile an hour speedometer, and the odometer is reading 52,264. Got an amp meter and a temperature gauge. I think there was another light down there that just went out when I closed the door. Neutral, got my foot on the clutch. I wonder if the oil pressure will come up. Well, not according to the gauge. My battery's brand new, but I don't want to run it down completely while I'm cranking this over. Now this thing has clean oil in it and it's full. I already checked it and it looks really clean. So as the engine's cranking, the crankshaft is going to be throwing oil on the cylinder walls. That's what they do normally. So I'm not too concerned about that. I just want to crank it some more. It's not going to start, so that'll get the oil pump working. So that'll get the oil pump primed and hopefully get oil up to the top end before it starts. Oh boy. That fuel gauge has not really moved or barely moved. There might be a problem with that. Looks like the oil pressure gauge came up a little. No, okay. In a minute I'm going to be priming that carburetor. just to see if it'll fire. Yeah, that oil gauge came up even more that time. Okay. I'm just going to squirt a little gasoline in the carburetor. That should be plenty. If it doesn't fire on that, we might not have spark. Wish I had a tachometer. Okay, here we go. Oh, you see that oil pressure coming up? So nice. She definitely fired. She wants to run. Okay, it doesn't have gas up to the carburetor yet. The fuel pump isn't pumping yet. It's firing on the gas that I put in there. And that's out now. This doesn't have fuel up here yet. Take this fuel line off the carburetor. Just to see if there's any gas being pumped up from the pump. Pull this fuel line off. Probably pretty hard and brittle. Pulling it off the steel fuel line as well, because I want to put a piece of hose on here and put it in a bottle to catch anything that it might pump up. Hopefully it'll pump some of the old gas out too. Right now this is completely dry, there's no fuel here. Okay, so there's only a small amount of gas in the tank according to the gauge, like less than 1/8 of a tank. So I'm going to put 5 gallons of fresh fuel in it. See if that helps. Now this is unleaded fuel. And these engines should not run on unleaded without some top end lubricant. They call it upper cylinder lubricant. So I'm going to add some of that to the tank as well. That replaces the lubricating lead that used to be in the gasoline, or it substitutes for it. I guess we're going to find out if the tank leaks as well. I hope it doesn't. I've never spilled so much gasoline, look at that, it broke, as when I started using one of these modern filler necks. It's ridiculous. Gas can spouts. They're just absolutely worthless. So look at all this fuzz on the ground. All that fuzz blew out of those exhaust pipes when it first started. There were mouse nests up inside there, up in the pipe, or even as far in as the muffler, I guess. Okay, so this is only a 1/4 inch line. I managed to squeeze it on there a little bit. I hope it's enough so it doesn't get blown off. And then this tube goes into here to catch it. Okay, so let's see what happens now. I'll try a few more times and see if it starts pumping some gasoline up here. Nothing yet. Still not pumping any gas up here. I don't know if I've got a clogged fuel filter somewhere. There's one here, but I don't see another one anywhere else. Maybe out back by the tank, I don't know. It's possible the pump is bad, but I'm going to give it a chance. We'll see.
All this cranking is sending oil pressure to the bearings, cylinder walls, and the top end. The valve train.
And there's still nothing pumping here from the tank. That fuel pump actually has a filter on the bottom of it too, which might be plugged, maybe. So I've got this click-clack pump hooked up. It's pulling gas out of that can down there. And the output of that pump is going directly into the carburetor. You can hear it running there. Well, there's a good chance this thing's going to run now. The oil pressure gauge looks good. That sound is decreasing. Just going to take a couple minutes for the oil to get up to the top end. That clatter should stop.
The valve train clatter we're hearing is caused by hydraulic lifters collapsing.
And meanwhile, that pump isn't really doing anything.
As the engine sat idle for years, the valve spring pressure on the lifters squeezed the oil out, causing them to collapse. Now they need to self-adjust by filling with oil pressure until there's no valve lash.
Sweet. The oil pressure gauge just came right up. Looks pretty happy. Fuel gauge not so much.
I'm letting it idle so the lifters get the oil pressure they need to self-adjust. They should be happy soon, hopefully by the time the engine's warmed up.
I'm going to just let that run for a bit. See how it does. About 14.1 volts on the battery. That means the alternator's working. The alternator's charging the battery. Fuel pump is still not pumping anything. Pumped a couple tablespoons full when it first started up, and that's it. Quick flat pump is leaking. There we go. Still no fuel pressure coming up from the pump. Runs pretty nice for not having been started. Oh, here comes the fuel. Okay, the gas finally found its way up here from the tank. I'm just going to let it go ahead and clear the lines out, put some fresh gas in there. It came out looking pretty bad. Hopefully that'll clear up a bit, and then I'll reconnect the fuel line. That's probably enough. I don't want a full gallon of wasted gasoline. Turn off that clip flat. Okay, the fuel line from the pump is hooked back up to the carburetor. This thing should be ready to run off its own fuel pump. Still has some old gas in it. Hopefully that's been diluted with the new gas. Hopefully it'll run okay. But we're about to find out. Not too shabby. The thing's been sitting for more than 2 years, I'd say. Hopefully that's going to dry up. accelerator pump is leaking. Probably going to be a good idea to go through this carburetor, rebuild it, at least regasket it. According to the oil pressure gauge, it's still doing good. I really haven't seen the fuel tank fuel gauge move. I don't see that moving. Let me put the headlights on. No, I don't see the amp gauge moving. Temperature gauge hasn't come up yet. Who knows if these are working or not? Oh, I know. Let me put the cigarette lighter in. It will pop right out. Seems not to affect the amp gauge. And this thing was running. That's the defroster. It was running at first. Oh, there it goes. Defrost. Huh. I actually feel heat coming up somewhere. Oh, it's blowing out down there. Okay, those are all going to have to be freed up. They're all kind of stuck. I still hear that clicking under the hood. And the wipers work. That's a good thing. Oh, what about the horn? Oh, no horn. Well, there's a few things that need to be worked on here. How's the ashtray look? It's been used. There was a smoker in here at one time. What about these speakers? It's got this little Jensen Mustang radio. Oh, but right now there's no antenna. Oh, and it's a cassette player. I'll have to get a tape and test it out. Test it out, see if it drives. is the moment of truth for the clutch. I don't know if it's frozen or not. We'll see. Goes right in. Just looking really bad, and the car's not moving very well. Let me get back to that wheel chock I was on. It's possible that something's frozen up in the brakes, so this thing's not taking off. Oh, the clutch is really shot. Unless I'm in third gear. Possible, I guess. I was. The clutch is really slipping. How's the brakes? Well, they work. Don't know how straight. Driving on my front lawn. I don't want to take it out on the road. No horn. Works. That was first to second. Hold a little bit. Definitely got some gumption. So my F-150, it's a 94, has a 5-liter engine in it, fuel injected, and it's rated at 205 horsepower. That truck is got to be up over 4,000 pounds. This car is 289 two-barrel, 1966, is rated 200 horsepower, and this vehicle is more than 1,000 pounds lighter. Definitely has some gumption. Imagine with a 4-speed. Okay, now let me turn this around and then I think that's it for now. I got it running and moving. I'm going to get a new battery for it. Unfortunately, this is mid-October. We're in the time of year where everything's winding down and it's time to put everything into storage, like the finish mower on the tractor and all that, and put everything away for the winter. And that's what's going to happen with this car. Let's put you here. We'll just have a little fun for a second. If I can get it into gear. Oh yeah. You got some gumption, that's for sure. I didn't have to pop the clutch to get it to break loose. Let's do that again. Some of us might have thought that was fun. Okay. Yeah, I could get in trouble with this car. I have to act like an old man, that's what I am. But I sure don't feel like it. The handbrake, parking brake kind of works. Yeah, I left some squeal marks on the driveway. Got two headlights working. Let's see if the high beams and low beams work. That foot switch for the high beams is stuck. It's stuck down. That ticking sound is greatly reduced. I don't really even hear it anymore. Thing runs nice.
The shifter really needs some help before I put the Mustang in the barn for the winter. I want to be able to easily move the car to the garage to work on it during the winter. When it's in the neutral position, moving the shift handle left to the reverse and first side takes a lot of force to overcome the excessive friction caused by years of corrosion that have built up in the mechanism. I think all it needs to free it up right now is a little penetrating lubricant. I was hoping to simply remove the shift boot to access the top of the shifter and lubricate it, but this is turning out to be a little more complicated than that. Ford had this cute little shift boot sticking through the carpet with a little 3-inch chrome plate to trim it out. Unfortunately, the hole in the carpet it projects through is very small, and the carpet covers the boot's corner screws by 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Accessing those screws requires removing or cutting the carpet. Okay, there's a screw right here. You got another one there, so there's a couple screws. So there's probably 4 screws, like here and here. So there's no way to get to them without either moving this carpet or cutting it, or putting a hole through it. But poking holes through the carpet to back those screws out won't enable me to pull the shift boot through the opening in the carpet. The base of the boot is too big to fit through that hole. Screw right there. And that will be just under there. Are those the only screws? Let's see, there isn't one in the middle, is there? Yeah. So, one. There's probably 4 screws. Shoot. Which means I have to put a hole in the carpet to get to it. So, there's a tear in this boot right here. So I put the PB blaster in here like this,
and sprayed around the top of that shifter.
I gave it a good soaking. There was cardboard and rags under the car to catch the drips.
And that loosened it right up here. That's great. I couldn't get it over into first gear before. That's why I was having trouble earlier. I'd push it over and it would stop, and I'd put it in third gear. But now it comes right over here to first. There's a lot of slop in this, obviously, but I just wanted it to be able to get over here to first gear easily, because I'm probably going to want to move the car around during the winter. Move it from the barn up to the garage, possibly, to work on it. Well, that's better. At some point I'll address this, but for now it's nice and free and loose, thanks to PB Blaster. And that's going to do it. Yeah, that's good enough.
Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to like and subscribe.